Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Trainer Talk. Today we're going to be talking about giving power to our beliefs, in particular our past experiences. So to give you guys a little bit more info on that, a lot of times we make excuses for things that we don't do in our current lifestyle because we're blaming it on our past experiences. So we're giving power to the problems, the traumas, and things that we experienced when we were younger, and using those as excuses not to fix that problem. For example, people might grow up in an unhealthy household, so they'll use the excuse or the trauma that, my whole family is unhealthy, therefore I am unhealthy. And they continue to tell themselves that story until it becomes true. You're basically going to live your whole life unhealthy if you continue to tell yourself that story that I was unhealthy as a kid and both my parents and my brother and sister were unhealthy, therefore I'm always going to be unhealthy. And a lot of people do that and they don't realize it. You might be thinking about joining the gym and you say, I'm too overweight to go to the gym, or I am not good enough, I don't have the confidence, I don't have the motivation. You're telling yourself that story that you're unmotivated, out of shape, too overweight, whatever, etc., and what ends up happening is it becomes reality. And you're never going to be able to break through that and actually achieve your goals unless you change the stories that you start telling yourself. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We have a couple of great kind of quotes and ideas that we're going to go over. I'll let these guys kind of share some of their ideas, but we're just going to try to give you guys some insight on changing that mindset and the way you talk to yourself to get better results and make those changes in your life. So hopefully this helps.
Yeah, I think one big thing is you tend to act out what your core beliefs are, and whatever the stories that you end up telling yourself year after year of, this is why I am the way I am, because whether whatever kind of trait you want to say, unhealthy or not fit, or you get poor sleep or have other unhealthy habits, you're saying I do this because of this past experience, or I do this because I am this way, and treating it as it's a fixed mindset, it's a fixed belief, but it's something that you can change over time. And these habits and these stories you tell yourself, you can change them. So instead of viewing them as something that's very fixed of I am this way and those very finite beliefs, you can change that into a different direction, over time and reflection. And then one other thing is that your stories are a lot more powerful than just telling yourself like, oh, I am fit. But you can kind of call out your own fake facts, I guess you could say. Trying to keep PG, but there's another word that would work better. But stories that you tell yourself are more powerful than just saying like, okay, I'm fit, I am healthy. But if you end up telling yourself a story of why you're not that way right now, you have to find a story that's going to prove that new affirmation. You have to say, I am fit and healthy because I work out 3 days a week. I am fit and healthy because I prioritize eating 3 balanced meals a day. And, proving, you have to have the evidence to support whatever you're claiming. And that's why some affirmations can seem kind of empty, because if you don't have the evidence to put back in there, then you're not able to tell that story repeatedly, because you're going to be like, you're going to call yourself out and say, well, why? And if you don't have the evidence to back that up, then you just won't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's true, like, you have the opportunity to rewrite your story. Like, you do not have to stay stuck in the past. And you may say, well, I don't know how to rewrite my story, I don't know where to start. And it's like, you just need to take action and do something. Like, obviously we're in the health and fitness industry, so if your weight is something that you're super insecure about and you want to get healthier and lose the weight, what can you do to take action? Well, you can start working out. And that's just something simple. You can stop eating fast food. If you say, well, I don't know how to start working out, like Taylor was just talking about this before we started, like there are resources everywhere. Like I learned how to work out on my own. I didn't get help from anybody else, but here we are, and we can help you. It's just, you need to put yourself out there. You need to do something about it. You need to start watching YouTube videos. You need to come in and ask for help. Like, there is really no excuse to not start taking action besides you just telling yourself that you can't do it, when really you can. Maybe you need to wake up earlier in the morning to have time to work out because you say that you don't have time, which is an excuse. And then, well, maybe I'm not a morning person. I really don't think that anybody is naturally a morning person. Like,
very, very little.
Very, very
Small
little.
percent.
It's something that, again, you just have to do. You have to force yourself to become a morning person. I was never a morning person, but with my job, I had no other choice but to change that because I have to be here early for training or whatever the case is. So I have to force myself to go to bed a little bit earlier and become a morning person. It's, I could have said, well, I can't be a personal trainer because I'm not a morning person. No, that was a story that I could have made up in my head that I had to change. One last thing that I'll talk about is a lot of times I think we have these stories that we tell ourselves because of opinions that other people have about us. And the truth is, other people's opinions of you are none of your business. Like, they are their opinions. They can think whatever they want, but it should have no power over you because it doesn't mean that it's true. Like, not everybody's going to be for you, not everybody's going to believe in you, but that shouldn't matter because it's your life. Go prove them wrong. We were kind of talking about that this morning too. Like, we all have people in our life who didn't believe that we could be successful doing what we do. And our goal is just to prove them wrong, to see what I can do instead.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because, well, for one, with like learning to work out on your own, I'm kind of getting into that a little bit. So like for me, I learned CrossFit. We didn't have CrossFit at all around here. Like, I had one friend that knew how to do a little bit of CrossFit methods. Other than that, like, I videotaped myself and then watched YouTube videos and went back and forth like on everything I did until I learned that skill. And in 4 or 5 years, I'm in the top 500 fittest men in the whole continent. So North America, placed like 406th or whatever it was for fittest men in the whole entire continent. So that's pretty cool. That just goes to show that you can prove yourself wrong, and if you actually seek out the knowledge and information that you need to achieve a goal, it's right here. It's available to us on our phone. My phone can't do it. But anyways, like, you just have to seek out that information and change your story. Totally agree with what you said, like, about people that tell themselves a story that, like, they're not a morning person, so they can't get up and work out in the morning. Like, I heard a great quote, and it said, "Don't prioritize your schedule your priorities." So that is very powerful, because if a priority of yours is to get in shape and start working out, you will schedule it at a time that you can get that in no matter what. Even if it is at 5 a.m. Like, I went to college and I worked at GNC and went to classes at Delta. And my classes were like kind of early afternoon, late morning, and then I'd go to work from 3 to 9 p.m. and then I would take pre-workout with 300 milligrams of caffeine and go and lift at 10 p.m. Stay up until 2 a.m. watching movies with my roommates after we've worked out and eaten a big meal, and then I'd sleep until 11 a.m. And that was pretty much our cycle. Like, we'd work out at basically 10 p.m. every day, and we'd wake up at 11 o'clock the next day. And once I became a trainer, I immediately switched to waking up at 5 a.m. to come in and train clients, because that was my priority. I wanted to train clients and be a personal trainer and help people. So I completely changed my habits, my lifestyle, because it was a priority. So if you actually want to get in shape, you will quit using the excuse that you're not a morning person. You're basically telling yourself that story just because you've never woke up early. It doesn't mean you can't change. You just have to get used to it and actually commit to it. And I will say, like, it still sucks every day. When my alarm goes off at 4 a.m., it's not like I burst out of my bed ready to freaking go. But I get up, and once I'm up, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I have a system that I do in the morning. Literally, first thing I do is splash cold water over my face, brush my teeth, get dressed, and then I drink water, and I also have an early bird, which is basically a little bit of caffeine, some antioxidants, electrolytes, just to get me going, and then I'm ready to go for the day. So it's like, the act of getting up early, the worst part about it is just peeling yourself out of bed, and then after that you're okay. You just have to get used to that. It's not necessarily, I don't want to work out at 5 a.m. It's just getting to the gym. That's the hard part. So start changing your story. Stop telling yourself that you can't get up or you're not a morning person, etc., etc. You need to get that out of your head. I really like the quote that we just heard recently. It was, the most powerful things that change our behavior and our character are the stories that we tell ourselves. That is the most powerful thing that can change our behavior and character, the stories that we tell ourselves. So just start changing your stories. Like she said, like, say, I am a fit person because I am going to the gym at 5 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I am a healthy person because I no longer go to Dairy Queen and get fast food. Instead, I meal prep my own dinner. Even if you're not necessarily at your goal yet, you need to tell yourself that story because that's what's going to get you to the goal. So if you're telling if you just started your journey and you're 4 weeks in and you're already not eating fast food, you're already waking up early and working out, start telling yourself the story, I am healthy and fit because I am doing these things. And if you continue to do that, you will continue to get better and better results until you reach that end goal that you put in your head in the beginning. It's when people have the goal and they say, well, I can't reach that because they're X, Y, and Z, even though they are coming to the gym, they are meal prepping, they're focusing on all the negatives. They're still thinking about all the things that they dealt with before. You need to turn that off and switch it to the positive things. So, instead of saying I am this way because of past trauma, I used to eat Little Debbie's and Twinkies when I was in middle school and high school every day, and pizza rolls. I can never be healthy because I did that as a kid. Like, turn off that past trauma, or I never learned how to do this or that. When I was younger. You need to say, I am this way because positive, affirmation. And another good thing is almost like, I liked that we just heard another quote, arguments are more powerful than affirmations. So in other words, an argument is a story that you can tell yourself that has proof. So affirmation, I am wealthy, or I am healthy, or I am fit. Argument would be adding the reason or the evidence behind it. So why are you healthy, fit, wealthy, whatever the goal is?
Yeah, and one thing you kind of reminded me of something that you mentioned earlier, the quote that you said, winners focus on activities and losers focus on the goal, or getting to the goal. And I think that does come down to beliefs too, because the people who actually tend to reach their goals are the ones who believe that it's the activities that are going to get there, and that the activities is what's going to make them feel better, and that's what's going to make them feel fulfilled, and that's what they're striving for. That's what they believe, is that it's the activities. The losers, people who maybe not
don't
losers,
achieve.
Yes, they don't.
By
achieve.
Losers, we mean somebody that fails at achieving their
Yes. So we're not trying to be mean.
Not
or
a
anything.
loser.
No, it's just if people that don't achieve their goals, they focus on that end goal. And they have a certain belief that, once I reach that weight, or once I lose 20 pounds, then I'll be happy. Then I will feel fit, and then I will feel healthy. But truth be told, take it from us, and I've seen it in clients, I've seen it in myself, it doesn't matter what weight you get to, or how many pounds you lose, you're always going to want 5 more, or something like that. You're never going to be satisfied until you start to give beliefs, and that you start to focus on the activities that you do and find your value and find like those affirmations and attribute those to your activities, rather than reaching a particular goal of saying, well, I'm not happy right now, but if I just do this, I'll be happy. If I could just get to here, I'll be happy. And learning how to be happy and satisfied with where you are at in the present moment. I think that's something that people kind of need to start to focus on a little bit more than just, I want to lose 20 pounds and then I'll be fine.
Yeah, the satisfaction is actually kind of, you never are satisfied with your goals. Like, you set that goal basically as just motivation because it's measurable. Like, you have a measurable goal that you can kind of shoot for, and that's what kind of motivates you to do something. But in reality, the goal of losing 20 pounds isn't to lose 20 pounds, it's to feel better and be more confident and look good in your own skin and things like that. But once you achieve that, you're gonna have another goal and then another goal. Like I've never been satisfied to where like I'm comfortable with my fitness. I think I'm just gonna stop. You know, the moment that you're satisfied is the moment you stop growing and getting better. And if you're not getting better, if you're not growing, you're actually getting worse. If you're not getting smarter, you're getting dumber. So throughout life, we need to make sure that we're always in a growth mindset. And I actually want, before I forget, Caitlin, tell your story about when you stopped focusing on the scale. What happened when you changed that around? Because this is the perfect example for what Bethany just said.
Yeah, so like probably my freshman and sophomore year of college, I gained like the freshman 15 and maybe the freshman 20. And kind of like even growing up as a kid, I was never like, I was always the bigger friend, the bigger kid, which nobody believes me now when they look at me, but I had proof it's true. So like at least freshman year of college, I know for sure I was so focused on just wanting to lose weight. That's all that I focused on. I just focused on the scale and it never happened. I always felt like I was failing. And then I don't know why, but just one day it just clicked with me. Like, I don't even remember what happened. I must have been inspired by something, but I just remember thinking like, okay, how do I lose the weight? Well, I need to work out at least 3 or 4 days a week. That's kind of what I knew. I think I had seen someone else's transformation of working out consistently, and I was like, okay, that's what I need to do. So I didn't weigh myself for like 4 or 5 months, maybe even 6 months, I don't remember. But I just started working out like 4 days a week consistently for those 5 or 6 months. And instantly, like at the end of that time, I had crazy results. Like I was down the 15 pounds that I wanted to lose, and I just felt better. I overall was just like happier, healthier. And again, I just stopped focusing on the ultimate goal and I started focusing on, okay, what do I need to do? I need to work out. And then once I kind of got that routine down, I was like, okay, I need to start eating healthier, and I focused on those actions, and the results followed after that.
Yeah. So the goal, like she said with that quote, the goal of the winners is to focus on the activities. Mm-hmm. So she changed from focusing on the end goal, started focusing on, okay, what activities and actions do I need to take to achieve the goal, and just focus on that. Nutrition and moving my body are pretty much the only 2 things you need to focus on, and that's what actually led to it. When you weighed yourself 6 months later, you're like, well, I actually did it. So that definitely, and that's the same thing with kind of changing the story that you tell yourself. That we wake up every day like praying and telling yourself, oh, it's gonna be lighter, and then when it's not, you beat yourself up and you get really stressed, and then you revert back to the old past experiences, like, oh, I just can't do this because of why. There's no way I can lose the weight because of whatever, and then you keep making excuses. So although we use the scale as that measurable goal, understand that it's not going to be just a straight line down. It's going to be ups and downs because it's a journey and it's a process. You have to learn a lot of different things, but just know that it's just a measurement tool. With the scale, we use it as an accountability tool more than anything, because if you weigh yourself, you're automatically going to hold yourself more accountable to the activities. If you know that you have to show your coach the weight, for example, you're going to do the workouts and the nutrition at a better level or more consistently than you would otherwise if you didn't have to show us any proof that you were doing the program. So we use it for that purpose. Maybe you could use it for that purpose only, but as long as you understand that that is the purpose of it, is to hold yourself accountable to the actions that you need to take. And if you do it consistently, it's going to take time. Could take a long time. Might have been 6 months for Caitlin, but it will definitely happen.
I think another part people should think about is when you do say the things like, that's why I am the way this way, or different, I am statements that paint a negative picture, you're giving power to whatever that thing was in the past. We said power is in the beliefs. So you're giving your power, you're giving your responsibility. So just think about that responsibility your ability to respond and to change and do things. If you don't accept responsibility for where you're at, if you don't accept responsibility for your actions, and instead you put it on, oh, it was because I never got pizza as a kid, so that's why I binge on it every weekend now. It's like, well, it's still your habit, and that's still a choice that you're making, and you're giving your responsibility over to that experience instead of accepting it and saying that this is my responsibility, this is my choice to eat pizza every weekend. If you accept that and you're cool with it, fine, go eat your pizza, but just realizing that you need to accept that responsibility instead of giving it away. You can also change it, put it on something positive, and just transfer that power. You can think about these types of thought loops or feedback loops almost like a trail in the woods. If you use a certain trail long enough, it's going to get pretty worn down. It's going to get easier to walk through because you knock down all the branches. The path is a lot smoother to walk in, but that's in that like negative loop. So the more times you walk a certain path, the easier it gets to walk through. So the more times you have a certain thought, the more times your brain is going to go back to that same way of thinking. So it honestly will be hard to change to thinking, okay, I am fit because I work out 3 days a week, because you're still going to have those other negative thought loops in your head. So it is going to take time just to try to start repeating that a little bit, and then eventually it gets a little bit more natural. It gets easier to start thinking in that other way.
And more often than not, like, it's almost just like one day it'll click. Like, if you just do something repetitively over and over again, all of a sudden it just happens. And it doesn't happen overnight. I think it's just like, it's unnoticeable until all of a sudden it's like, once you get to a certain point, boom. Like, and the best way to describe this is like with, a couple of our clients that are doing gymnastics work on the pull-up bar. Like, we practice chest squat pull-ups and pull-ups, and we work toward doing like a muscle up week after week after week after week after week, and they think they're not getting anywhere, and then all of a sudden they jump up on the bar and they whip themselves up and over just like that. It just something clicked to where, oh, bam, they got their first muscle up. And it's just from consistently doing the activities and the actions, like she said, like, and not giving into the, that story that you're telling yourself, like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Just keep, plugging away at it and tell yourself, as long as I keep doing this and staying consistent with it, that you can do something and accomplish it, whatever you have your sights set on. So definitely very powerful. Yeah. Biggest takeaway though is to stop giving trauma power, like she said. Stop giving your past experiences, traumas, problems power. Don't let it overcome and dictate your future. Start rewriting your story. Start telling yourself stories of why you're going to succeed in whatever your goals are, and start taking action and doing the activities that are going to get you to that goal, and constantly remind yourself of why you're doing it, using those positive affirmations or argument stories to get you to that goal. So hopefully this helps you guys. We just wanted to try to kind of change your mindset and way of thinking, and stop using the excuses from your past and your traumas, because if one person can do it, anybody can do it. And there are millions of people that have completely changed their life, people that have come from very traumatic childhoods, very rough upbringings that completely transform their life and are super happy and successful and healthy. So it can be done. You just have to find the knowledge, seek out the help and the experiences that you need to do it, and then write that story, tell yourself that you can do it. So if you need any help with any of this, we talk a lot about putting together a plan and putting together the workout schedule and the nutrition and the activities, the habits that you need. A lot of people just don't know what they need to do on a daily basis. We just don't have that knowledge, and we have, to an extent, the knowledge that you need. We aren't going to say we know everything. We are constantly learning, but we can definitely help you change your lifestyle for the better and start adopting these habits and rewriting your story. So if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out. Until then, stay healthy. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can see our future videos, and we'll see you in the next one.